Hi, Dave. Hi, Darren.
Good, thanks, Jason.
Okay, just bear with us 1 second, Catherine. We'll just make sure we're okay.
No
You happy,
problem.
Sam? Yeah. Right, cool. Catherine, whenever you're ready, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. A very good afternoon, Darren. Thank you for your time again today. Is a big Yorkshire derby at Hillsborough possibly the ideal way to draw a line under Tuesday night?
Yeah, good afternoon, Catherine. From looking at Tuesday night, we probably didn't perform as well as what we know we could perform. But such is football that there's another game on the horizon, and this is the game really this weekend that I'm really looking forward to.
Clearly, Sheffield Wednesday, a club very close to your heart. How do you feel about going back?
Yeah, for me, Catherine, I'm really looking forward to it. For me, it's another fixture. It's the next fixture up for us. So for me, going back into that arena, I've got no problem. I'm just seeing, and the group of players would just see the game for the game and not the occasion, really. So for me, I'm looking forward to going back and being back in the arena.
Does it bring any extra emotion for you, though, because of the time and the success that you had there?
Yeah, for me, I think, Catherine, is like, when you look back at the time we've had there, it's been a historical, history-making season that we had there, and the success that we had over the 2 seasons we had there, nobody can take that away from what was done there. But that's what I was brought there to do with the staff, was to engage in the football club and to turn around its misfortunes. And we did that, so nobody can't take that away. And that was the chapter there. And for everybody at the time that we had there was involved in that. Now that time has surpassed. Now I'm here at Huddersfield Town. I'm delighted to be here as manager at Huddersfield Town. And for me, it's the next fixture. And my thoughts and attentions are here at town, in engaging this wonderful, fantastic football club, and continuing the progress of this football club in trying to get this club better and upwardly mobile in terms of going forward.
Given that Sheffield Wednesday have parted company with their manager this week, and that many of the Owls fans, I'm sure, would welcome you back in that job with open arms, does it in any way make it a slightly awkward situation returning back there?
No, it doesn't, because my time there, as I said, hopefully everybody would have seen that the time there was, I engaged with everybody as best as I could. We involved and included everybody as best as we could. And it was a journey at that time. That was the right time. Since then, I've moved on now and here at Huddersfield Town. And I'm really, really, honestly, Catherine, got all my thoughts and attention at this football club here in getting it forward. And anybody in the professional game or outside the game would understand that's football and how it works. For what's happening there at the football club is none of my business now, because I've moved on and my professional focus is here at Huddersfield Town Football Club. So, and that's where my thoughts will remain, here at this football club.
Your own personal connections and history aside, do you subscribe to the new manager bounce theory? Does it potentially make them a more dangerous opponent on Saturday?
Yeah, well, you've got the new manager, whoever's going to come in now. I think it's Neil that's got hold of the reins at the moment, and he's an able individual, and he's been in that role before. So yes, he's got that role. Yes, he'll have his own thoughts and mindset in terms of how he wants to set them up. But for us, we can't afford to be looking into the ins and outs, what's happening in the fabrics in the football club. What we're just doing is looking at the game. What we're just looking at is the game as the next opportunity we're going to play. It's the next opportunity where, both teams are contesting for the 3 points, and we're no different in doing that. In between now and then, we still got 48 hours to prepare, and we'll prepare as best as we can to step in there and certainly show a better account of ourselves.
What are the main things that you are looking to see an improvement in then from Tuesday night?
I think for me on Tuesday was the The goals we conceded were avoidable goals from our point of view. That was number one. And certainly in possession on the ball, we weren't as clean and as fluid as we could be, and how we have shown. We got into some wonderful areas on the pitch, but just our final pass or our final contact in around the goal let us down. So in the main, in between, we did get into some threatening positions, but when we did get into those positions, we didn't have the real rightful contacts in those final areas to really cause Birmingham some problems on Tuesday night. So certainly those areas of the game we need to improve on, because ultimately it's those areas where you get into what enable you to win games.
And ideally creating an early chance and putting it away. So much of playing at Hillsborough is being able to silence a vociferous home crowd. If you could get that early doors, how big a boost would that be in your potential success?
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, let's not kid ourselves from it. It's to go away from home in this level and to get an early goal is fabulous. But also at the same time is, we'll go there and we know, as I said, we know the arena. But the biggest thing for me is us focusing on us and making sure we do more of the do rights than we did more of the do wrongs from Tuesday. And as I said, we reflected the game. We've put that behind us now, and all eyes are focusing on the weekend.
Do you feel that some of those mistakes made and the subsequent analysis of that has helped you learn again a little bit more about this squad that you're now working with? Yes,
without a doubt. Sometimes, obviously, when you're winning games and that. The saying is, you don't learn much when you're winning, but obviously when you do suffer a defeat, you see more in that. You're able to scrutinise things even more so. But it's a learning process. But as I said, with this group of players, they're an incredible group of players. They're an honest group of players. And I'm really energised, and I won't change my stance after the back of losing a game in midweek. They're a good group of players. They're an honest group of players. And I'm really looking at, as the weeks and certainly the months go by, is pinching as much information, knowledge of them, and developing them as men and as players for this football club. Because as I said, I really feel within them they've got more to offer than what they're showing at the moment.
Team news-wise, how are you looking? Jonathan Hogg inevitably is always a big miss if he's not fit. Will he be available again for Saturday?
Yeah, for me, I suppose having the media today that we've still got 2 days, and today the boys were in for a recovery today. So if it had been yesterday's news, I'd probably be able to tell you more. So we got the training session tomorrow. So at the moment, we'll assess the squad tomorrow really, because everybody's just had a real recovery today. Tomorrow we'll be seeing who's available to train and who's going to be available for the weekend.
Okay, so it wouldn't necessarily rule him in or out at this stage?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Equally, how mindful are you of the fact that it has been such an intense schedule of weekend and midweek games? Would you be minded to again, freshen things up, make some changes for Saturday?
Yeah, and that's why, when we look at it tomorrow, the group will come in tomorrow and train, and then you'll be able to assess, because it's all about recovering the players, getting them right, mentally and physically, and then going sort of tomorrow really. So it's looking at the group. Once you assess the group, you can make those changes if need be, or if there's any forced changes that you have to make because of certain circumstances. So obviously all those decisions will be more evident when we get the group tomorrow.
One last one from me. Inevitably, it is that fixture, isn't it, where all eyes are going to be on you. It's just the nature of the beast, isn't it? In some ways, will you be a little relieved when this match is done and dusted and out the way?
Yeah, in a sense, but whether the game was played, which is going to be played this weekend, or if it was a month or 2 months down the line, I'll approach it in the same manner, in terms of, yes, I can understand why all eyes will be here, and I can understand it and I get it. But with football being football, you have an element of keeping your professionalism. the football club here at Huddersfield Town require me to be the ultimate professional that I am, which is focusing on the team, and I'm just looking at the team in terms of how we can go about the game and improve on Tuesday's performance. The outer world, and probably on the other side, we'll probably be looking at the time I've had there, and we look back at that time we had there as a fun memories and a fun time and a wonderful time. But now it's about, for me and my staff and the players here, creating some good and wonderful opportunities here at Huddersfield Town Football Club.
Thank you, Darren. Best of luck on Saturday.
Cheers. Thanks, Catherine. Thank you.
Catherine. Thank you. We'll come to Stephen from Yorkshire Live next, please.
Hi, Darren. When you've reflected on Tuesday night's game, and I know you mentioned a few broad things, but where do you think things sort of went wrong? Was that early goal perhaps sort of the beginning of where things started to unravel?
Yeah, it's never easy conceding an early type goal in that manner, and I just think it was probably looking at that and then probably conceding not to the second one afterwards. It just gives you that mountain to climb, really. So when you look at that, it's always going to be a tough upward task. In saying that, my players still carried on. We sort of huffed and puffed through the game, and we did get into some threatening positions where we had some half chances, and there was the wrong contact. We had a couple of real good chances to score or make the goalkeeper work, and we didn't seize and capitalise on them. And we needed probably one of those chances to go for us to see if we could get ourselves back in the game very, very early. And those chances weren't capitalised on. So therefore, as the game wears on longer and longer, it becomes more and more difficult. And then once conceding the third goal, we just felt the game got away from us then, really. So those were the disappointing things. The positive things was we still managed to get ourselves into some real threatening areas and just didn't get the right contacts on the ball at those crucial times in the game.
You made quite a few changes. I think sort of only one of them was forced, I think I'm right in saying, with Jonathan Hogg coming out the side. But you made more changes than just that, and then a few at half-time as well. Was that a necessary thing with the way the fixtures were piled up, or was it a certain tactical idea you had, or somewhere between the two?
A bit of both, really. I'd say 50-50 in terms of the way the fixtures had sort of piled up on us, and it just being another away fixture, really. And so what we end up trying to do is trying to rotate the squad in essence, really, and try to get a bit of freshness back in the squad, really. But also at the same time was, sort of going those couple of goals down early and then trying to freshen it up at half time. I was always trying to work and do things to try and get back into the game and try and see if I could come away with some sort of result. But as I said, the game, we was always stretching and reaching for the game. So, but again, it gave me good insight into the team, the players here, and getting a real good look at one or two of the individuals as well.
We were speaking to Tom Lees a minute ago, and he was saying he felt it was a lot of basics were the issue, and I think that was apparent on some of the goals. What do you do when that is the case? Because obviously players are, this seniority and at this level, you shouldn't need to be coaching them on basics. So is it just a mental thing, a sharpness thing?
Yeah, but you can still work on the basics. You can always still work on the basics, and the fundamental basics can go a long way. Any sports profession at the very, very highest level of the game, there'll be an element of doing the basics well. So I agree with what Leesy was saying in terms of, getting those basics right, and even the simple basics you can get undone with. And we certainly felt that was the case the other night. And as I said, for our point of view and the standards that we've set here, certainly the goals that we've conceded, we certainly feel that there was avoidable from our perspective. Certainly from Birmingham's perspective, they played well as well on the night. and led to the goals and that. But certainly from our perspective, we felt that they were avoidable.
I think there has been, and this sort of predates your arrival at Huddersfield, but I think there's been a big difference between sort of Town at their worst this season and Town at their best this season. Do you feel like working on those basics is what's going to bring that level up and close that gap?
Always, we'll always consistently work off the ball. We'll always consistently work on the ball. Because why? Because there's two elements of the game. There's a game in possession of the ball and there's a game off the ball. So we'll consistently work at that. Not only that, we'll consistently work because we as a football club and a team want to improve, and a desire and a determination to improve. And how's that? It won't be like a light switch where you switch the light on and it comes on and off and you see the performances. There's a continuation of work, and we'll continue to work day in, day out. And the reason we continue to work is with one element: to make us better, and we need to be better. So going all round in terms of the football club, that's our desire and that's our temperament here, is to want to be better as a team and as a football club going forward. And that's ultimately always will be done in the training ground.
I think if you sort of looked at the squad, you would probably say sort of goalkeeper and you back five, back four, however you want to play it, are positions of strength, but the defensive record, and I know it's not just those players responsible for the defensive record, but I think there is improvements there. But is it a positive to look at those players and think, this is a group that I can work with?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you've touched on it. Yes, defensively record, people will look at the current team and they'll look to the defenders and the goalkeeper for that defensive record. But ultimately, it's the whole team, and the whole team, because those players don't play in that position on their own. It's the whole team. So there's aided work needed by everybody to enhance that area of the team, as well as it is when we're scoring goals. Those defenders are absolutely part of that as well, really. So we don't single it out one particular department, but what we do is we sort of throw a blanket on it all and say everybody's inclusive in it in terms of improving those areas. And it's certainly an area that we have a desire to improve.
I don't mean this as a criticism of your predecessor, because obviously it worked very well for him, but this is a team that is not used to having a lot of the ball over the past few months. Is it a particular challenge because we know that your Wednesday side did have more than 50% possession? Is it a bit of a challenge to build the players up when they're in particular habits and get them into a new way of playing?
Yes, it is, and that's why I use the phrase. It won't be like a light switch effect in terms of seeing that immediately happen. It takes time, it takes work, and it takes a lot of information and detail and learning to produce that. Is that a route that we will be going down? Then yes, we will be going down that route. But also at the same time, it's something that's done over the basis of time, and we will be consistently working on that. And again, it's another area of the game that I've spoken about, working off the ball, and there's another part of it working on the ball, and we will be doing that. And as I said, it's something that where my desire is in terms of how I see the game and how I feel the game should be played. And as I said, we'll be trying to implement that into the squad.
The international break obviously is a great chance for you to do that. Has this sort of been earmarked in your calendar since you arrived, having this 2 weeks to work with the players?
Yeah, we see that as an opportunity to work with the players and try and grab that as an opportunity to work with the players, and grab that as an opportunity to work with individuals and improve games. I suppose the 2 weeks coming in and having the 4 games over 2 weeks, we've pinched at it really, and my sole focus has been on these 4 games. But after the weekend, we see the international break as an opportunity to get in and get some real good work done really, in both aspects of the game, which I've spoken to you about.
Best of luck.
Cheers, Top.
Thank you, Steve. We're just going to come to Leon from the Yorkshire Post in the room first. Leon.
Hiya, Darren. Is it a case of Saturday you've got to block a lot of things out and sort of keep out the noise and get in a sort of quiet place almost? And it's going to be a lot of emotion about, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think that's the and I can understand sort of the emotion because in football terms, I suppose it is relatively quite quickly going back there and with the team and everything else. So I can understand that from an outset. Certainly from my point of view, it will be just seeing what's going on inside the pitch, really, as the ball's moving inside the pitch. And wanting the right performance from our point of view and from our perspective on Saturday. So while you've got those two aspects going on, I understand it, but also hopefully everybody around it as well will understand my point of view in terms of my professional approach.
It's obviously it's a shame what's happening in many respects at the club there, but you've just got you're in a new role now. You've got to be total ruthlessness and business, isn't it? On Saturday, that's the way you've got to look at it.
That's it, Leon. Like I said, for me, it's the next fixture. It's the next game. Apart from me knowing absolutely the infrastructure around the football club and everything, and going back in there and knowing my way in and out of there, that would be that. Once I get into there, it's the arena. We're inside the arena, and it's the game, and you know it's a local derby. I expect it to be a competitive game. I expect the atmosphere to be a good atmosphere because with it being a local derby, and we're looking forward to the game. It's the next hurdle that we face with, and we're going to that hurdle as best prepared as we can in terms of looking to get the right result.
You've been back to another of your former clubs in Yorkshire when Doncaster played Sheffield Wednesday, so you've got that experience as such, haven't you, in blocking things out? You know?
Yes, and that's ultimately what it is, because at the end of the day, it's not so much the occasion, but it's just seeing the game really, and I think that's the bit where I'm prepared for in terms of going back there at the weekend.
How do you prepare for that? It's difficult to prepare for a side who've got a caretaker manager, but you know Neil pretty well, but it brings its own challenges, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, because there's one or two fresh ideas that's going to be presented, which that's what happens when a new manager comes in, in terms of how he feels and sees how he sets up the team. And that's why I've been more so with the new manager coming in there, you're focusing more on what you're about really, in essence really, in preparing for it, because with the game coming up, anything can be done on a split second, in terms of if Neil wants to change the team, keep the team, play a different system, play a different formation, that's down to Neil. For me, I'm just looking forward to seeing us get out and back into the competitive arena, and work again.
And obviously, when the famous song comes out, you can't be dancing to it this time.
No, I'll keep my hands in my pockets.
Thank you.
Cheers, Leon. Jason from the Sun, thank you for your patience, sir.
No problem. Thanks for your time, chaps. Just wondered, Darren, how much those fond memories of Hillsborough were tarnished in a way by the abrupt kind of way that it all ended.
Yeah, what I would say is just it's football, and we understand it. It happens. You know, for me, like I said to you, I look back at that time with it's a good time. It was when you look back at the season, the 2 seasons we had there, it was a record number of points, clean sheets, goals scored, all sorts of things, which is what we wanted to do at the football club and what we brought there. So there's a sense of satisfaction from me when I talk about that time there at the football club, and there should be a sense of satisfaction that everybody that was connected at the club that helped bring that success there. So let's not forget that really. But also at the same time now is stepping back into the arena. I'm there with Huddersfield Town Football Club, and I've been so so appreciative of all the Huddersfield Town fans for making us feel so welcome at this football club, and they will be a huge added support for us in terms of getting this place going here. It's wonderful to hear that we've got such a massive travelling away support going to be there at Hillsborough on Saturday. And my message has always been to the Town fans: make it loud for us and push the team on. So it's really wonderful for me to hear that, that they've got that joy and belief in the team, which is great. And as I said, on Saturday, we just want to perform and get the right performance in that arena.
Have your paths crossed with Chansiri since? Have you spoken to him at all since?
No. Not at all. The only time was when they had the first game of the season, and I just wished him well when they were live on Sky against Southampton. I wished him well and the club going well going forward. So messaged him and just wished him well. Since then, not spoken to him.
Because he claimed there was a financial element to your departure, but I assume you'd refute that, would you? Or what's your take on that? So?
My take is I don't need to discuss. There's been enough out in the press and the media about that. My thing is to bring it back into the game on Saturday, and we're looking forward to the game. And we don't need to really speak about that. We're just really looking forward to the game, and hopefully it'll be a wonderful game for both clubs connecting on Saturday, and the game will be played in the right manner.
And just finally, what would your message be to the next Sheffield Wednesday manager? I see Neil Warnock's been linked with it. Would he be a good fit, do you think?
It'd be a fantastic fit for it if it is him. It would be, but I mean, I can only go off the speculation that you're giving. But certainly, if it is Neil, then he would be a wonderful fit for that particular job. But as I said, my responsibility, honestly, is just fixed here at Huddersfield Town. I'm really pleased to be here as a manager. I just think the club's every day coming into this training ground, it's a wonderful place to come in, and just a joy to work with the staff and getting to know the staff and getting to know the players. There's so much for me to do here on a day-to-day basis, and as the days come and go, I feel I'm getting more and more into the fabrics of this football club.
That's great. Sorry to dredge up all ground there, but just a few questions I had to ask. I appreciate your honesty on all that. Thanks, and all the best, man.
Thank you.
Jason, thank you. Thanks, everyone. We will see you at Hillsborough on Saturday. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Darren.
Thank you.